Kampala is in the news of a market takeover and the chaos in the KCCA market, and all these we need to understand what exactly is happening around the city center. Now I'm joined by the Minister of Kampala to give us understanding of this, Honorable Betty Amongi, who is at the helm of everything. Honorable, very good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
First of all, I want to say you're very smart, Honorable.
Thank you very much.
It makes me feel I should actually possibly become a minister in one of these days.
No, don't. It's a very difficult task.
It's a stressful job.
It's very stressful.
How are you holding up with regards to KCCA with COVID-19 regulations?
Oh, we are trying, and of course, you know now Kampala metropolitan area contribute over 45% of the cases in the country.
Oh, yes.
Equally death, we contribute quite highly. So we have to be very careful. There are very, very many policies that we've introduced to support especially areas which are very risky areas are the slums, downtown Kampala, markets, taxis and public transport. Unfortunately also after opening schools, we've got in one of the school some cases which we've handled, and the children are safe, those who have. So I also want to assure parents who are out there that within Kampala Metropolitan, now we have a joint command center which handles both Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono, Mpigi, and that's how we are handling the school issues, and we are really moving
on a progressive curve.
On a progressive
curve. Honorable, just this week we had a lot of issues that was in, if I should say, in downtown. Like you said, it's one of those areas that are a little bit contagious. What exactly is the problem with the markets and abattoirs in Kampala? And what does the president seek to cure when he says that the Minister of Kampala should disband all market leaders and elect new ones? And what are you doing to implement these directives? Because there was an administration earlier, but then the president makes a directive, disband this administration, let's get new leaders. How hard is that?
One of the most lucrative business in Kampala are management of markets and taxes. Because most of these leaders introduces their own fees on top of government fees. For example, in markets we are supposed to charge 6,500 per month per stall. However, you find managers of the markets in form of leaders will introduce other additional fees. And that is what they strive on. Now there are so many complaints that there are fees introduced which are over and beyond what market sellers can afford, notoriously called vendors. Now what His Excellency has instructed is that we disband all the leadership. Number two, we determine only one fees payable annually or monthly.
That cuts across? That
cuts across all the markets. So one fees annually. Then two, only one other fees on top of that, because at the moment you find some markets people are paying 6 different fees. When you are entering into the market, you pay gate fees. When you are selling, you have daily fees you pay. Then you have monthly fees you pay. You have maintenance fee. Then they pay omeme outside the sector rate. The sector rate per unit is 750 shillings per unit. But in the markets, you find they are charging 880 to 1,000 per unit. Water, they will bring water and they charge maybe 100 or between 100 to 4,000. I
saw the ones complaining about water in the market, in a window market, Balikudembe. They were saying that they were buying 1 jerrycan. The end user, the person who was a restaurant, was buying 1 jerrycan at 500 Ugandan shillings. That was too exorbitant. And National Water went on ground and clarified on this, and they're working on that.
Exactly.
But now, is this a solution, Minister? From where you stand, if the president makes this directive, is it a solution? Because earlier on, it was the same president who had leased off markets like to Basajja Balaba and Kano Mujenyu, who were not even involved in the market business. And here we are now, he's saying now let's get new leaders. Is the president directing us rightly, or he's trying to find a solution to a problem he created himself?
He didn't create the problem. It was the Kampala District Land Board at the time, under the former mayor, the Sebana Kizitos, who had leased those markets to the Basaja Balaba. Then in 2006, His Excellency the President reversed those decisions and allowed vendors to manage the markets themselves. However, those who decided to form market management committees have excluded the vendors, but also increased certain fees which we have articulated, and therefore His Excellency is saying, originally I allowed you to manage market as vendors, but on condition that you do not extort money from the wananchi who are really looking for a livelihood. So he's looking for a solution now where he has also instructed that we purchase the market as government, we take over the market, pay them off, and then develop the market. As government. But in the interim, we should first disband the old leadership, allow the vendors to elect their own leaders, and we've set a roadmap. In the next 2 weeks, we would have had all the elections for interim.
That sounds very interesting strategy, but that brings me to the next question about what happened in Chiseka market. The vendors in Chiseka and those who work around that particular market said the structures that someone wanted to come up with, there was no inclusion. They don't know what is happening. They don't know while it's being constructed, where will they be working from? This caused a little bit of clash. Do we have inclusion of the vendors?
That's one of the reasons why we as government decided we must buy off some of these markets.
So that you just make decisions?
So that we can allow vendors to own the market. Okay. Because at the moment, we had in 2006 allowed KCCA market to come together as vendors and manage the market. They formed the company. Then within the company, they started fighting. There are now two splitter groups. The group that is developing the market have sold the stalls and the shops, but those who are original vendors are not able to afford the shops that they are selling. So majority of them have now been left without a stall and without a livelihood. Now they have developed half of the land, maybe about half of the land. So His Excellency and Cabinet has instructed that the portion that is left should be acquired by government, and this group that are unable to buy what has been developed, because it is at the range of maybe $50,000 onwards for you to buy the shop, and the ordinary person in KCCA cannot afford.
Yes.
So what happened in that scuffle is where we are picking coordinates and surveying off the portion which has not been developed, so that government can acquire it back, and we are able to give it to the ordinary people who cannot pay for what is being developed.
Well done, Honorable. That is exciting. If you are one of those who have land in Chiseka market, well, now you know how this is all going to turn out. Honorable, when you just come into office, you say that you're going to reorganize the taxis in Kampala and all that. How far are you with reorganizing the taxis, and is it in tandem with the old tax park? How are we with regards to the construction though?
The old taxi park, we've developed it, we've renovated it. Very soon we're going to open it. Although this is not the actual development we want in the park, for the temporary use, we're going to open it in this November. Temporarily, but we're going to have it built as a modern terminal, where we shall have the buses, the trains, and everything terminates and begins from there. But at the moment, we are about to open it. We have at least renovated it to the level that a city person can go and board a taxi in a decent way. And of course, other taxi, we are gazetting new taxi parks at the outskirts of the city. We are going to launch them very soon so that we decongest the city. And we're going to start construction of stops, and we are going to develop application which will let you know which route will take you where you want to be, where the taxis are, and how you are able to transport yourself with ease and decency.
When you speak of routes, it brings me back to the taxis. How far with reorganizing them?
Reorganizing, we have already registered. There's no taxi that is moving without registration.
Okay. And
we've registered about 14,000 taxis, with all of them having route charts, and now we are only going to start putting in place the stops, so that you know this is a stop. You don't just stand anywhere waiting for a taxi. We're going to number the taxi. We are going to make sure the taxi that are flying in the metropolitan areas have a separate color and numbers. So the route numbers will be placed on the taxis.
On the taxis.
And you will know that this number 56 maybe is going to Ginger. Number 20 could be going to color. And it will be the same color, but the route will be, the number will be the one that will show you which route it will go, will be going, the stops that it will take, and the application will show you the time it will arrive at the stop where you are.
Okay. That is to the taxis. How far with the border borders? You had earlier alluded that you want all border borders to be registered and work under apps. Yes. How far?
We are also registering the border borders. We've gazetted the stages, which are 585. They have requested us that they study and see whether they are able to increase the number of the stages within each of the division in Kampala. So there form associations for each of the division, and they have started their registration at the stages that are gazetted. So we have agreed with them that we give them a time frame to realign themselves with the stages that they are able to operate in, and in December we agree with them when they start moving and relocating to each of their stages.
Honorable, I don't know where you reside in Kampala, but from where I reside, there is a lot of ongoing roadworks, including the Murana Road and Tinda, Kalera, Kashia. Motorists have been badly inconvenienced for months now. When are these roadworks ending?
It's unfortunate, and really I want to apologize to all the people who uses roads in Kampala, that works would have completed by now. But because of the COVID period, most of the contractors were not able to undertake construction at the time they were supposed to complete. So we are pushing them so hard to complete all these road works, which are really inconveniencing the people, but equally because of the large volume of the vehicles and the population, we are required to improve the infrastructure, some of the areas to 4 lanes, and if we don't do it, people will be more inconvenienced in future. So let us commit to fast-tracking the completion of this infrastructure so that we are able to make the population move.
So how long should we wait? Should we wait up to June next year?
No. we most of them we are actually thinking by December, January, latest Feb. Should have been completed.
Okay. Honorable, recently the rains have messed up a number of roads, creating potholes. Igi, Mukwana Road, 7th Street, 8th Street. What's the plan to fix these roads?
All the major roads that have potholes, that have all these issues, we have a major infrastructure fund that has been passed by Parliament under ADB loan, totaling about $288 million. We have earmarked most of the roads for major upgrade and rehabilitation and construction. All those roads you've mentioned are part of it. Very soon we are going to advertise, not exceeding December. We will be starting on most of the roads that are having major problems.
Okay. That's very interesting. Honorable, do you take time and drive at night in Kampala?
Night, no.
At night. Well, as a journalist, I travel beyond curfew hours because I'm in my line of duty. When you pass around the Parliamentary Avenue, it's very lit. It's very, it's beautiful to go by. But when you pass through some areas, it's very dark. Yet earlier on, during the tenure of Jen from CC, there were security lights that were installed in this way. In the morning, you find batteries, you know, those manholes that have the batteries are all open and it's all taken, vandalized in one or the other. What is KCCA doing about this? If you go by the Lugogo bypass, it's a dark, bad spot. If you can't navigate through Kololo in the night, it's so worrying, it's so scary. What's the strategy for street lights?
The strategy for street light now is we are looking at solar powered system which does not have battery installed on the ground. Like you rightly pointed, majority of the street lights that were installed were solar powered and the batteries were inserted on the ground. Majority of it have been vandalized, stolen. When we replace them, the same story. Now we've got funding from AFP, and this funding for solar street lighting is now going to help the battery embedded into the solar system. So you will not be able to vandalize the solar power system. So that's the system we are about to start operationalizing so that we are able to light the city. Of course, we are also working with Omeme. We cannot light the whole city only with solar. So with Omeme, we are also under rural electrification going to have areas that will be powered under that program.
Lugogo bypass, it's a dark spot.
So I take note of Lugogo bypass.
Well, going forward, lastly, we cannot let you go without speaking about your party. Yes. UPC,
yes.
Where you stand. You are nominated in a bid to retain the Onyam South seat on the UPC ticket. And there is UPC Akena and UPC Walubiri following the recent court ruling, if I shall put it that way. Shall we see an end to this soon? And do you feel in one or the other you're getting inclined to the NRM?
One is that working with the government is a patriotic duty. And when you have a president that knows the strategic vision of a country, his strategic mission to unite a country, to build bridges. We've seen the build bridges in Kenya
Nairobi.
And Nairobi. So I think President Museveni is one of those leaders that wants this country to come together, irrespective of our shades of opinion and our shades of political inclination. It would have, of course, been a choice if I opted to stand on NRM, but for both personal reason and also strategic reason, I opted to stand on UPC. Honorable Jimmy Akena, who is my friend. Okay.
Yeah. Do you really want me to go there?
You are not going to go there.
Okay. Who is your friend? We'll go with that. Okay.
As stood for the party president.
Oh, yes.
In 2015,
yes,
he was challenged by the Peter Walubiri faction.
Yes.
However, at the time, he was nominated alone because the constitution of UPC says if you do not obtain endorsement from a minimum of 1/3 of the district, your name cannot be forwarded for election at the National Delegates Conference.
Indeed.
So in 2015, they stood 8 of them. Then he got 2/3 of the districts and denied all the other candidates nomination. So he was nominated alone and he was declared president-elect. So when one of the person for Walubiri went to court, that is when he challenged and said he cannot be declared president-elect because he first has to go to delegates conference.
Yes, the process has to be respected.
To be endorsed. But because of the difficulties Olara Tuno had with him, and he didn't want him to be party president, he refused to call the delegates conference.
Oh.
So the delegates conference could not endorse him, and yet he was nominated alone.
Yes.
So the supporters of Jimmy Akena called themselves into a delegates conference and endorsed him and forwarded the name to Electoral Commission. And the Electoral Commission endorsed him, and that is where all this court case emanated, right from 2015. But his term was from 2015 to June 2020, July 2020. So when July concluded, that term was finished.
It was done, yeah.
And so the election was conducted on 1st August. Again, he was elected for a new term. So the ruling that took place is for the term which ended July 2020.
Okay.
So now he's in another term of 2020-2025. But of course, the other team continues to contest.
To challenge this.
And in my opinion, their challenging is not based on principle. It's based on a struggle over, I think, the issue of who controls the financial arm of the party. And the Walubiri faction wants to control the financial arm of the party, which is Uganda House, and the property under Milton Obote's foundation. But there are people who feel that the financial arm of the party should support the party. But this group feels they should benefit as company directors. So that's where actually all the UPC fight is about. Is Milton Obote's property supposed to be to support the party, or is it supposed to be no, not the family, support the board of directors? Because when Milton Obote was in exile, this group changed the article of association of Milton Obote's foundation, and it is now board of directors elected by members, and of course they're the ones who admitted members. So the members are theirs. Election of directors, they control it, and they have been the one enjoying the Milton
No wonder
Obote's,
they need the arm, the financial arm.
So that group can never secede, defeat politically.
Okay.
Because they know they don't have political ground, but because they control the financial arm and it benefits them
at board level.
They don't want to secede. For us, we want a political vehicle.
Okay.
So those are the two.
The clashes.
The clash. The group that wants the party for political vehicle, and the group that wants the party for financial vehicle.
I understand now. I really get it. How does it feel to be in UPC with all these squabbles going on, and on the other side you're working with the NRM?
I take working with the government as working for the country, making a contribution to the people of Uganda, and I take being UPC as an ideology that I support, a social ideology. You're
so rooted politically. Honorable, His Excellency started a program of Emyoga to give SACCOs money within Kampala, Wakiso. We were allocated 50 billion within Kampala and Wakiso. How are you ensuring that the youth are accessing this money, or the Ugandans within these two districts?
Now, Wakiso and Kampala, I want to assure you that Parliament 1 week or so ago and the supplementary, passed this supplementary. We could not start vigorous implementation before adoption by Cabinet and Parliament. Now this money is meant to support youth groups, women, and any other income-generating groups classified into 19 different sectors. Welders, literally all groups that are in taxi, border. We have started we've launched it in all the 5 divisions. Today, we are constituting various teams that will go to train you, and if you already have a SACCO that is working well, we are going to look at your SACCO, give you the forms, you will be able to fill the forms, take it back to the committee, and the committee will go back to you and give you a training of about 2 to 3 days, and you will be given the money once your SACCO is functional and has savings. So for those who have any saving in their SACCO, I want to encourage you, please kindly report to your town clerk, the town clerk of your division. At the level of Wakiso district, you will report to, if you are in a municipality, also to the town clerk. If you are at a district level or sub-county, you report to your sub-county's chief, who will give you all the details, and you are going to be able to register your existing SACCO with what you have already saved with your enterprise, and very soon we are going to announce moving in each of these sub-county to be able to support those who have been profiled as active and viable.
Well, there you have it. That is the Honorable Betty Amongi explaining how best the Myogas are working. So if you're one of those Ugandans who'd love to tap into the Myoga cash, that is 50 billion Ugandan shilling that was allocated for Wakiso and Kampala, please go to those various offices and get the rightful information. Honorable, as we're winding up, what could be your last word to the Metropolitans?
My last word first is on COVID. I want you to be alive.
Oh, yes.
The people of Wakiso, Metropolitan, and the country at large, wear your mask.
Indeed.
Sanitize. People are dying.
Yes.
You have,
and Kampala, Wakiso seem to be...
And we are the one that has the
numbers.
highest number. Please wear your mask. 2, it's your constitutional duty to vote. We are now going into the voting.
I hear you.
I want to request you to use that constitutional vote and vote for steady progress and vote for unity and vote for reconciliation and vote for YK Museveni.
Thank you, Honorable Betty Amongi. She comes from the UPC party, but she goes ahead and campaigns for Yoweri Museveni. She's politically inclined ideologically with the UPC, but working for the state, believing in the progress ahead. It's Morning at NTV. That is Honorable Betty Amongi. We'll be back shortly. Keep it here.